Супер. Колеги, всім доброго.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Good morning. We greet Lviv, Lugansk, Kyivshina, and all the regions that are watching us online through Ukraine Crisis Media Center platform. Today we gathered here to present the results of the exhibition that happened in Lugansk Oblast, in Starobilsk Popasna, Станица Luganska, and in other towns of Luganshina. The aim of exhibition was to study ATO exhibitions and also to prepare the new exhibition on this topic and other areas of research in the sector. And the participants of exhibition are Olga Gonchar, territory of Terra Project Luhansk Museum, also helped us locally. Our colleagues from Starobilsk, Popasna Stolica Luganska, Novaya Milovanova, Yatsenko, Severodonetsk. All this happened under the auspices of the Institute of the National Memory. And also we have the painter from Kyiv, Nikita Kadan, my colleague and me, the director of the museum in Lugansk Oblast. We are going to present our further steps of cooperation. Also, we have other colleagues with us. We are broadcasting through Facebook on our page and through UCMC platform. You may ask questions now. I give the floor to our colleagues from UCMC, and I ask them to start the video concerning our exhibition, and then please give us a sign when the video finishes, and we will continue after the video. Thank you.
Ще не чую.
Попасна чує.
Так.
Do you hear me? Yeah. Have you heard what I've said at the beginning? Okay. So we continue. In August this year, we were in Lugansk Oblast. We studied exhibitions of ATO. Why we have traveled there? During the last years, before I became a director, we we're cooperating with the project Museum is closed for repairs, and we started our cooperation in 2015, and we continue our cooperation now. We are communicating, our life changes. I became the director of the territory of Terra Museum, and we started cooperating with the Luhansk Museum. We communicated a lot, and we have been communicating for 5 years. Now we have big cooperation. At the moment, we have cooperation between the territory of Terra Museum, and also we cooperate with Mr. Kadan, and I believe that we should get united. We should unite our experience and to create such exhibitions. I would like to give the floor to Anton Drobovych, then to my colleague Olesya Milovanova, and I believe that during this hour we will be able to tell you about our common cause. Please, the floor is given to Anton. Do you hear us, Anton? I would like to say several things about what Olga said. Do you hear me? First of all, maybe she said that this is under the Institute of the National Memory, but we just support the project, we do not head it. Because in such issues there are many open questions and answers are to be found. That's why we need such we need to go on site and to study this ongoing history. And this issue of mystification of memory about war between Ukraine and Russia, this is not just some template from Soviet times or from foreign nations. There are many exhibition solutions and dialogue solutions and curator solutions. They should be born in the synergy with our team, with our society on the whole. There may be some manipulations, and there should not be manipulations, and there should be proper way how to create such exhibition. There should be first proper research, a study to understand how to do it with high quality. That's why we've joined the project. We support many different projects, and we have the same model of cooperation. And actors of change dress on, like in Shepetivka Museum or in Poltava region. We cooperate with different projects, not concerning exhibitions, but creating joint projects and expeditions with the Institute of the Museum of the Second World War. They had the exhibition, they collect materials about and we provide our expertise, and we try to provide examples of such cooperative projects. We try to do everything inclusively without our own leadership, without providing the only way, the only approach, in order to be able to tell live stories. I would like to thank all the partners who joined this project. This is a big experiment that will have social consequences. I believe they will be really positive, and the results of this will be really of interest to many, because there is big request to create this museum concerning Ukrainian and Russian war. And after this war, I hope this exhibition will only increase. So these are only first studies that are carried out by the Museum of Territory, that is called Territory of Terror, and Lugansk Oblast Local History Museum. And I hope that others will join this very important work. I wish everyone success. If resources allow, next year we will continue our cooperation. So this was an expedition, then we will create such an exhibition that would become in the future the embodiment of aspirations of many people. And this is not about some templates, this is aspiration, and people may look at it and find the ways how to move forward, because each community, each um, each community may have their own vision how to create such museums, exhibitions, but the mainstream ways may be interesting for everyone. Some I would like to wish success to everyone in this project, and I wish you inspiration to Anastasia Gaidukevich from the Institute. She joined the project, and Olga Gonchar and other partners who joined as curators, and other partners from Popasna, Lugansk. Thank you for your cooperation. This is really nice. And this initiative comes from you, and this is a healthy symptom that it is not from Kyiv, but initiatives come out from the regions. Thank you, Anton. Now the floor is given to Olesya Milovanova. Please tell us about your museum, about this ATO collection, and why it is important to do this together, and why we should join this. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I would like to tell you a little bit about Lugansk Oblast Local History Museum. I would like to say that Lugansk Oblast Local History Museum was relocated in April 2015 to the controlled territory, and all the collection of the museum and scientific research documents, they remain in the temporarily occupied territory. That's why the first task we had after relocation and registration and ownership documents preparation, we created a new team. We collected materials concerning military actions that are ongoing in the territory of Lugansk Oblast. First of all, we established close cooperation with the armed forces, volunteers, and NGOs. As a result, at the end of 2015, we had materials to create a small exhibition that was called Donbass: The Way to Peace. All museums of the Lugansk Oblast collected materials for this exhibition in the territory of the regions where they are located, and we have databases and archives with video footage and other evidence. Together with other museums, we started to form preliminary databases concerning soldiers who died in battles, volunteers who died in the territory of Lugansk Oblast. I would like to note that the museum workers to some extent also suffered from the war. They got additional trauma while working on this topic, but there was understanding of the importance of our work and pro-Ukrainian position. And we understood that museum workers should collect evidence. And also, we have exhibitions concerning ATO and JFO. And we consider how to highlight these issues. I addressed Olga Gonchar, and Also, we know her in our region, our community. We know her. She has been working for several years in our oblast. She knows how to work with these difficult topics because they study hard parts of our story with they work with people who have difficult experience, and there was an idea about the expedition and the ideas how to create experimental exhibition in a local history museum about our work and about our exhibition. I would like to thank the Institute of the National Memory, Anton Drobovych and Anastasia Gaidukevich for their support, that they trust us and support our project. For us, it is really important for Museum of Local History and for all museum workers of Lugansk Oblast, because first of all, we dismantle myths about separatism and I would like to thank you all. Thank you. Anna Yatsenko documented everything, and I would like to ask you to share the presentation, and then we will be speaking about this presentation, and then we will provide the floor to Nikita, and we will discuss our matters further. So we went to Luganshina and visited Luganshina on the 11th till 19th of August, and we recorded what was going on there. So this is the road you may see on the screen, and here you may see the description of this expedition. We will download this exhibition. This presentation will be downloaded and we'll tell you about it. Luhansk Regional Local History Museum. Olesya mentioned this museum, why it is so important. They are relocated museum, and starting 2015, they collected 500 pieces concerning ATO operation, together with volunteers, soldiers, and this will be an exhibition in the museum. Now the museum is working. They have additional premises, and there are some bureaucratic procedures in place to prepare this building for exhibition. So this is pieces of this exhibition. So this is from the front line. Some military artifacts, some items from the soldiers. Here you see the pictures of those who died and information who died and where. The uniform, also insignia, and as Lesya said, we should remember that all our museum workers in Lugansk Oblast, they live in the situation of war, and they are working with the war topics, and they are the pioneers in this topic. For us, our joint position is that we should collect all the information and make first attempts of exhibitions of such items. Stanichno-Lugansk Museum, Local History Museum, it is of interest because it has also collection of ATO, and the basement is really interesting. It is a storage and shelter. during military actions. This shelter in 2014-2015, it was built in Soviet times, and it is for hiding, and it was used for this purpose. This is live object, live shelter in the museum. This is a live exhibit. When we visited this shelter in the basement, we had rashes on our skin because we understood that we should provide a professional answer how to exhibit this premise. This is a big challenge for Ukrainian museum community because there is ongoing conflict and museum in the Stanitsa Luganska, and we know that this is a very hard point in the territory of Ukraine. And also museum workers, they create this exhibition about war, and at the same time this museum, it has a shelter and they may hide there. And the museum was under shelling during military actions. Novoaydarsk District Local History Museum. We should not forget that there are military bases near them. The region is in the epicenter of war. So there are many military men and IDPs, and also museum workers. They collect items in the Novoaydarsk Museum. They have cooperation with the military, and the military men, they bring some items from Luganshina and they tell about the war. Lysychansky City Local History Museum, and they have exhibition. Lysychansk was occupied, and they also recorded the history of occupation. This is also a peculiarity of this museum. Also in Lysychansk Museum, what we got, that the information about military action, there was also information not only about military but also about doctors and volunteers. And next slide. Popasna District Local History Museum is also in the epicenter of events like Starobilsk, Luganska. They are close to the line of contact, and museum workers continue their work. With the start of war, they collected information. Also, there are many artifacts about the military, civilians, doctors. They collect information right after events, and they also provide their perceptions concerning the events of war. Also, they cooperated closely with the military photographers. In each museum, they have cooperation with other entities. Next slide, please. First, we believe that all these museums, they started to collect items starting 2015. This is a strong side. Each museum collected these items at the intuitive level. This was like they just got that they were provided with. Often people phoned, and in several minutes you should think whether you should collect the item, because after this time you won't be able to get it. So you should decide quickly whether you want to get this item. So this is pioneering, and they museum workers, they live in ongoing conflict, and they collect items, and they collect these items having a pro-Ukrainian position, and they try to tell personal stories. And these exhibitions, they do not provide conclusions. They are open for reflections. Also, they work with the military personnel, and they have some therapeutical effect, because the military men, they come to these exhibitions and they see their life history there. Also, there are information bases and materials, so we have basis for further study. We should not forget about the environment our colleagues work in. They are victims of this conflict, and all museum workers in Lugansk, for them, they try to overcome all those stereotypes concerning museums, and we are the fans of our work. We really enjoy it, and often exhibitions that we saw, this is not only about Lugansk Oblast, they are directed to old methods of visualization, and now these methods are not efficient. Sometimes people believe that you may create good exhibition without investing funds and resources in it, but this is impossible. Cool exhibitions need cool investment. That's why it should be taken into account, and we should take into account the environment we work in. At the same time, strong sides prevail. We may list them, but we believe that we see that there are exhibitions about the military personnel, less about volunteers, journalists, and so on. So also there is lack of information about weapons, lack of materials in English, in foreign languages. Also, it is a big trauma for the museum workers to study those materials. Lack of identification of photo and video, lack of design of exhibition, and also they try to follow the methods of exhibition like they do it in the Museum of the Second World War, but use this model concerning ATO and JFO. And we may turn our minuses into pluses. That's why we go to the next slide. I would like to tell you more about opportunities that we have, positive influences, which will overcome these weak spots, weak sides. And it is difficult to do our work quickly all those exhibitions without reflection, without proper study, here and now, as they say. Unfortunately, we're working in such a format. So we should take this into account about opportunities and positive influences if we overcome our weak sides. As Anton said, this topic has a big potential, and there is a request concerning reflections concerning ATO topics and creation of exhibitions. We are pioneers, and also there are some results of work of museums in the east of Ukraine, and we are all searching for new forms, for new ideas, and this is the main positive influence that may strengthen our situation to create employment, new rules of the game, development of some technical innovations, and also the creation of a network. And we should establish the new horizon of expectations. And this exhibition may help us to provide something new to other sectors. Also, this is about infrastructure and update of personnel, and also to create employment for people, inclusion of international experience. So these are our opportunities. If we work with this topic, we introduce new rules of the game. So what are the obstacles? I believe that in these 5 years, we are still holding ourselves together, and we will be able to overcome all obstacles, but at the same time, we should pay attention to our legislation. It should help us to preserve these items, because we cannot tell about the war, speak about the war, if we do not have these items. Everything should be done legally, and museum workers should be protected, because there are some examples when museum workers, our colleagues, after the activity, they suffer because of their professional activity. We know all those resonance cases when museum workers found terrible terror of Stalin, and now, for example, in Russia, such people may be persecuted. Also, as Olesya said, there is separatism, and there is some division. Some people say that people differ in the east of Ukraine, but we understand that people are similar throughout the country, and also there is weak infrastructure and technical support, lack of premises, lack of staff, and I showed pictures to you, and you have seen the conditions our museum face. We all need this infrastructure investment in order to improve our work. And we are afraid that someday we will be enemies of the people, because in Ukraine there is a change of power, and but we still are going to continue our work. Positive sides. I believe we want to create a precedent for Ukrainian and World Museum sector. We want to provide something new. We want to update legislation, and in the future, we want that the Donetsk and Lugansk studies. We hope that for us and for our colleagues, we will be able together to create ATO Museum, ATO and the JFL Museum. And next, please. Nikita, I would like to ask you to provide a comment about the exhibition Ongoing War. Okay, thank you, Olga. Good afternoon. So this exhibition for the museum in Starobilsk is the continuation of the multi-year work with the material heritage of the war, the ongoing war. I say heritage because here we have paradoxical combination of active process of social transformation, and any war contributes to social transformation, and the frozen conflicts also are in this process, and the process of archiving the accumulation of knowledge, recording and representation in different forms. These processes, they are interrelated. And in the concept we propose for the Luhansk Local History Museum, we do not deal with any political, patriotic propaganda. The museum is not a place for propaganda. The museum has different tasks, and it of course should provide some propaganda in military times, but I believe that museum is a separate sphere. At the same time, we do not have the luxury of working with the Russian-Ukrainian war that ended, that has some coordinated view. And this view should be provided not only by Ukraine, but also this view should be provided by the world. There is no coordinated narrative about this war. We work in the sphere of uncertainty. Also, we should find the language to speak about what is going on. We should have visual language that is proper to the topic and to build the narrative properly. The narrative about the war it is in the process of active creation. This is emotional sphere. People, they are involved in all these processes, and every person demonstrates their own views. This is not like speaking about the weather, about the climate. This is not something that outside our will. And there are always some attitudes towards the war. And in Ukraine, there is no proper formal logic concerning the narrative about the war. I heard your speech, Olga, And I paid attention to an aspect. This aspect is not yours, but it is constantly repeated about positive traits of music exhibitions about war in the East, in the museums of the Eastern Ukraine, that there is patriotic pro-Ukrainian character and lack of political engagement. Do you see some contradiction here? Leslie, can you add something about this? I'm listening to Nikita, and I make my own conclusions about this. So this is not just a coincidence. This is not situational mistake. Everyone speaks like this. They say, yes, good traits, patriotic, pro-Ukrainian, and politically non-engaged. But any patriotic idea, everything that is patriotic is political. It depends on the direction of this patriotism. And here we should choose. We cannot at the same demonstrate our patriotic, sincere feelings so people, they demonstrate emotions to officials, to military administrations, for example. If museum workers do so, they cannot then say that they are politically independent, because in fact they are engaged. And there are some opinions and judgments. I believe that our exhibition could provide such characteristics as engagement in truth, to present the state of the matters. This is not just facts that we list, because these lists are endless, and we should select something out of them, but such evident problematic things of the selection as lack of items from that, the other side, from the other side of the line of contact, as Olga said, this is the first thing we see. Lack of exhibition, lack of items from LPR. So we cannot speak about the truthful presentation of the state of the matters concerning the war. Now, I believe exhibition in the so these museums now, they are just the places of patriotic upbringing. And I do not speak about the modernity, about media component, and the way how they present information. In their essence, these are not museums. These are the entities of propaganda, patriotic propaganda, but somehow they are in the museums. These places should not be in museums. They should be in the military bases. So these exhibitions, they do not they should not contain these declarations of political loyalty. There should not be morals and moral assessment. At the same time, it should broadcast the experiences, lives about, and information about lives of people during the military conflict. When we demonstrate these rows of pictures of killed soldiers, for us it should be evident, but we do not have civilians there, so there is no history of civilians. When we demonstrate this experience of war from our side of the conflict line and survival in this side, but we do not demonstrate the experience from other side, I do not know whether I should repeat this. The experience of that side, it is not the propaganda of that side. We should demonstrate how people reached this and the role of external aggression in this, and the modus of anti-Ukrainian separatism of those who were formed there, of those people who lived in Ukraine, and how those people survived. Those people who believe that they are the victims of the circumstances, who constantly declare that they are outside the politics, they just want to live. Those pensioners who through Stanitsa Luganska, they go for their pensions to the controlled territory. So if we do not speak about this experience, then we do not tell people about the Russian-Ukrainian war and the war that is really ongoing. So here we have a huge territory of unresolved issues. We didn't deal with them. And some people believe that this is not time to do this, or this is not proper to do this. So the potential of our exhibition is that we will work with those matters that were not dealt with before. And also there are ways to present information, they are different. And we have some experience in our spheres of activity. Museum experienced of the experience of terror, of territory of terror, or I have experience also in, and I have some works concerning war and the memory about war, and experimental exhibition in Museum of History in Kyiv. All this experience will be used, and I believe that we have all the opportunities to create something new, something with new quality and with the new potential of truth. We should be engaged in the truth. Thank you very much. I agree with you completely. Really, we are working for the policy of truth for humanity. So this is the principle that unites us all. Olesya, maybe you have something to add, because without you, we won't be able to do this. And maybe you have something to add before we are going to the next slide. I agree with Nikita, with his conclusions, with his views. We would like to have the exhibition that would not shout that, look, everything is okay, dear officials. We are patriots and everything is okay, and we show exhibition, present exhibition as you like it. exhibitions in Luhansk Oblast Museum and in other museums, they resemble the rooms of patriotic upbringing with uniform, with shells. And we spoke about it when we were in Starobilsk. We collect those exhibits and how to present them, how to show them. We do not know about it. That's why we asked for help. We collected the materials, but we didn't present them. Also, I would like to raise such a topic like separatism. What is separatism? Whether the people who remained in the temporarily occupied territory, whether these people are separatists. If, for example, their parent is disabled and they stayed, or they fled and then they returned, they were forced to return to LPR or DPR, can we call them separatists? Can we call people who speak Russian language? We have many people who speak Russian here. Young people, school children, we speak Ukrainian language, official language, but we are in Russian-speaking environment, and many people, for them it is difficult to speak Ukrainian, and they may be called separatists. They go and work in Russia. There are many painful topics. I agree with Nikita, but we will live and see. We are going to work on these painful topics. We will consider them. I believe that this will be a new and interesting exhibition that will be not like others in the Museum of Ukraine. We go to the next slides. So here are the main topics. Technical solution. So we've mentioned this before. Our research 2021-2023, we understand that we do not know what we will have in these years, how to plan our work, because we live in times of uncertainty and we take decisions in the situation of uncertainty. As museum workers, we will continue our work in any conditions, and we have plans of our work, what we can do, even if there is lockdown, quarantine. Many changes should be taken into account, but there are some things we may do. This is online. Edition about the activity of the museum and funds in order to have proper catalogs and organization of the remote work of our team, creation of some inventory and work with the materials if we are not able to travel, and to work on site. But this work can be done even if everything is closed. Next slide. Partly feasible. This is procurement and of technical means and materials for the exhibition, printing the materials, and we can also carry out these works, conducting pre-repair works in line with the quarantine restrictions. And if material part will be impossible, then we will work online. Unfeasible because of the quarantine. For example, we won't be able to travel to go to other regions. Offline, we won't be able to work, but we will be working with UCMC, and we will work through Facebook, through stream. We will do everything online, and we will continue our work on this project. and we hope for the support of the Ukrainian Institute of National Memory. Of course, it is difficult to plan finances for the next year, not only for us, but also for all the museums. But we hope that we will be able to continue our activity. So we are working together. We have been working for 5 years, and for us, we have our priority. We are working for the truth, and we will do everything possible. Let's move forward. Process of creation of archives about the emergence of the new language, how to speak with the audience. So this is the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, Archive, Spielberg Archive. All these institutions started, they formed first archives, and based on the archives, they grew their institutions and they distributed their activities. But the main is that we work with such a topic that should be regarded from different angles. We should create a formula, we should invent it for ourselves and to present the story for the world. So this decision should be comprehensive, but there shouldn't be a single template for this solution. So capacity for the museum and also our potential. I am a manager, I am a director, I'm a director of an institution, and I see conceptual and visual potential. This is the new language Nikita and Olesya mentioned. And also, this is the change of the sphere for museum. We provide employment technical solutions, also involvement of experts, painters, designers. We have many wonderful specialists like Nikita Kadan. We have many friends, colleagues who will cooperate, and all of them should work here in Ukraine. I believe that this exhibition, this topic, should be a driver. Also, we should have a separate museum for this topic. And we do not know for how long the quarantine is going to continue. The museum should have an online form. There should be an archive that should be accessible remotely. What can be archived? My colleagues mentioned this is landscapes, items of war, the work of international organizations, military artifacts, life stories, commemoration of memory, and you may broaden the scope. And I believe that this issue should be properly discussed. I believe that we see that there is a lack of methodology, but at the same time, we have a place for maneuver to find something unique. So that's why, for us, the main is to finding the professional answer to the question how to exhibit the ongoing war in the museum. We will create a global precedent, a new language to talk about the war and the human being in the 21st century. So here is acknowledgement, special acknowledgements, and We are grateful to the Institute of National Memory and Mr. Drobovych and the team of Olesya, Milovanova, and we thank all those who helped us. Anna Yatsenko, she helped us to document everything. And despite quarantine, our colleague traveled with us to Donbass, and we understood that we are responsible for our life and health. And we had the big wish to move this topic forward. And also Katya, Didnik, all those who work with us and all those who will continue this work, we thank them all, and all those museum workers and all those people who provided information to us. And we thank them for sharing their views, their aspirations. There are pluses and minuses, but this is life. And I believe that we are a strong team to overcome those challenges and to get answers to painful questions. And we should think all those things through to find those answers. So you may watch this presentation on Facebook and on the online resource of Territory of Terror Museum. If you have some questions in chat, in Zoom, Facebook, then we have time for Q&A session. I see nothing in the chat, in Facebook. I believe nothing. Okay. Then I will wrap up. Once again, I would like to thank you all, especially UCMC, because I wouldn't be able to go to Donbass if they wouldn't provide me with this opportunity. And I hope that we will reinforce each other in this project. Your platform of communication is the best in Ukraine, and you were created as a response to the war, to the revolution, and summing up, we are entering the next year, and we have a situation of uncertainty concerning the format of our work. There are different options, and we will use the most optimal one. We thank you all. Stay in touch. We will publish our materials. We are open to comments, to criticism. You may disagree with us. Please write us, criticize, ask questions. But don't forget to support us, because we have a tradition to criticize. But we should speak about good things as well to achieve results. What else? I believe that we will have a separate presentation for museum workers, and we will invite museum workers, because this is our first presentation. This is like a training for us, and maybe we will find something interesting for us. Thank you very much. Olga, please tell me several words. I would like to say several words. We would like to thank you really a lot. I have a lot of emotions. I'm glad that you, Lesya, and those people who helped you, I see that this is new generation in museum workers who are capable of bringing our museums from the still situation. So these are dissertations and research for our big museums and officials. there are many issues, and Nikita mentioned about those officials in communities in the regions who believe that they are heroes or patriots. They call themselves patriots, and we applaud them. Only museums are capable to bring our national identity in the sphere of and provided through museum materials. And this concept that you presented, this is a scientific concept. I'm really grateful to Nikita for his European view on museums. And I'm really glad that our museums go this way. And this is Olesya really contributed to this, and your colleagues who helped, they also help us constantly. They provide scientific advice to us, and I believe that everything will be okay. I applaud you. I hug you. Olga, presentation was perfect. I'm impressed only by one thing. Why can't we cooperate with the Ministry of Culture? Because they are the last who know about innovations. But community should move everything forward. I cannot understand this. Museums from Popasna, Stanica Luganska, Milovanova, these are frontline museums. They have 5,000 salaries and 35,000 in the ministry, and this is a painful situation for me. This is not our case, of course, but we will fight for our own things, and we will reach results. And I believe that they should honor you at the state level and to decorate you with some state awards. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. We will continue our work. So please, till the next time, and I will provide all presentations to you. Have a nice day.